Want a live interview with Viral Hip Hop News? Email me, Sam Ant, at dlsmediainc1@gmail.com. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. I'm your brother Oga from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We got family back on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times this brother's been on the podcast, but we always enjoy the good Dr.Wesley Muhammad on the show. How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm excellent. How's my brothers doing?
Bless, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're
Thank
doing
you
great.
for having me back, man. Like I said, y'all have a powerful platform, and most importantly, you're using it responsibly and effectively. So I salute you guys.
Likewise.
We appreciate it. It's not easy out here
No,
to do it in a world where the attention, the wealth, the notoriety comes from doing it the wrong way.
absolutely.
But we stick to our guns, we stick to our morals, and
That's why I had to salute you, because I know it's not easy.
yeah, no, we appreciate you. So let's kind of just start there. Like 2025, you've been on. It seems like at least we get you at least once a year, and every year we get you on. Something different is going on, and something in the world is changing or bringing itself to light more. What's your thoughts on where we at in 2025 from a media perspective, from a world's perspective? What's your overall thoughts on where we're at today as a society?
Oh, dear brother, we're at a critical time. We're at the time that when COVID hit, the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan said that, or announced that, the ending isn't imminent, the ending is here.
Damn.
So everything that's going on across the globe is a sign of the time in which we live right now. This is a very serious time. It's a very perilous time. The president that we have and the way that we got him is a loud and clear message to the American and the world population in terms of the sign of the time.
Yeah.
It's a very perilous time right now.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things have been switched. A lot of things are changing right now. And I guess like Trump in office now, a lot of us, because of the economy that he had before, I think a lot of people wanted to see it kind of go back to that. But a lot of people are criticizing them, tariffs and things like that. And a lot of things aren't going the way people envision. So with that being said, you think he was the right choice? Do you think we should have went another way, or do you think it wouldn't matter who was in office?
Well, it didn't matter who was in office, and we should have gone another way. By going another way, I don't mean another political candidate. The other way we should have gone is the way that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is the only solution to this problem in America. Integration, whether it be social or political or economic, was never the answer to Black people's problems. And once we achieved integration physically, socially, economically, politically, once we achieved integration, that hurt Black America. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says separation is the only solution to the problems that plague Black America. Do for self. So it was always wrong-headed for Black people to invest so much hope in the political system. We had our dream come true, a Black president. We had a Black vice president, Black woman vice president. So we achieved the political sunnum bunum. And while the imagery and the symbolism was great for Black people, on the ground, it did not translate at all to the betterment of our condition. That is the clear proof that the other direction we should have gone is a direction that did not put our hopes in a political system or a political solution to Black people's 5-century-old problem.
Right. Now what is that? What does the separation look like in your opinion? Because you see these athletes with a lot of money and you never really see them trying to obtain that goal. Then you have people say, well, they can't really do it. If they try something on a large scale of separation, it'll be burnt down, it'll be systematically destroyed. So what does separation look like in this world, in the United States of America?
It's that's a very good and important question. America is more segregated racially now than America was prior to the Kerner report or the riots report of 1968. But segregation is not separation.
Mm.
The segregation that Black people live in and under today is reality in which our communities aren't controlled by us. Our communities are designated for us by others. We can elevate segregation to separation. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything except invest in where we are. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, make our own communities safe and decent communities. The investment and individual who athlete, entertainer, a moneyed Black person that wants to do well by his people and invest in his people, if he or she stands alone, she or he will have a hard time. That's why the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. So it has to be a collective effort. We have to collectively decide that we don't have to get up physically and go anywhere. We have to make the collective conscious decision to come out of her, my people, first culturally. And so we're on this powerful hip hop platform. Hip hop is a divine cultural art form, but hip hop has been hijacked by the enemy. And through hijacked hip hop, Black America has been culturally engineered in a particular way. So the first step, most important, or one of the most important steps of a viable separation come out of this system culturally, socially, and mentally. So we have to make spiritual, mental exodus before we can even think of any physical exodus.
Let's talk about hip hop. You introduced hip hop into the conversation. I want to kind of talk about that, but in the podcast form or the media aspect of it, because it seems like, and you alluded to it being hijacked, it's been hijacked by not only people outside of the culture, but people within the culture with an ulterior motive. So it seems to be, and they haven't officially came out and said it. It hasn't been officially proven, but their actions show you that, okay, they may not be or have the best interest of us as Black people, as a culture at heart. So what do you think about this new age version of media, how it's distributed, how content is created, in particular in our culture?
Well, our content creators are very important, not just media influencers, but social and cultural influencers. Therein lies the double-edged sword.
Mm.
The world we live in right now is so driven by social media, which is a virtual reality. In many cases, a deep fake. And so our content creators have a heavy responsibility. Most of them don't recognize or acknowledge that. And so the problem becomes we create content for likes, we create content for effect. And so content creation isn't done as responsibly as it should be, given the power that the social media has over the thinking and therefore the life reality of so many people, young people in particular. Our content creators, just like our hip hop artists, have to be invested in something other than and bigger than chasing the bag. That's the problem. The holy grail for everybody impacting the culture is the bag. And while we recognize our God promised us money, good homes, friendship, in all walks of life, meaning the God of the Nation of Islam. But that isn't what we chase. That is a reward, a promised reward for doing right and doing right by the community. But when we put the bag first, when we put the bag as our objective, that's how the enemy got us. And so with hip hop, a most important recent 2025 event is the publication of Whitney Webb's article, investigative report on unlimited hangout. Now, of course, in 2024, I published the Hip Hop Conspiracy, how rap music was weaponized against Black America, and went deep into almost all of the topics that Whitney Webb broached in this important investigative report. But the fact that this white investigative reporter exposed what she did expose is a very important event culturally that happened in 2025. And where I'm going with this, in terms of the point, the problematic of making the bag the objective, this is how our hip hop artists are controlled. This network, the people behind the curtain of hip hop, the people behind the curtain of hip hop is hip hop isn't the black faces that we see, either the black faces on the mic or the black faces, the moguls at the desk. That's the curtain. That's the hip hop curtain. Behind the curtain, the people who determine the contours of hip hop, and through that determine the contours of black culture. They are cultural engineers. Those people, Whitney Webb exposed some of them. I have, and others have exposed some of them, but their trick is to engineer the success of chosen artists after they have compromised them with drugs, alcohol, and gay sex. Once they've compromised an artist, they choose them for celebrity, make them celebrities, and use their celebrity to culturally engineer our community. And because black people have been made to only see the bag and what the bag can bring to us, it's easier now to entrap black people. It's easier now. So you get these young, it's easier to trap young artists in these criminal 360 deals, right? You got the young, you can get the young ones, the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas. You can get them trapped in a criminal 360 deal because of old heads who know who touch some money, right? You can't get them. So you got to move them out. The young ones are looking at the myth of black millionaires and billionaires. And so they will sign on to anything, not realizing that they will never be a Kanye West with a 360 deal. There'll never be a Hove with a 360 deal. But the glitter, the hip-hop glitter, which is a mirage, because those who do bling like that, they were selected and chosen. They were made celebrities. They were given the bag for the purpose of cultural engineering. I'm sorry for going on so long.
Good, brother. Your platform.
Oh yeah. That's always good. Now, I was actually listening to a bit of that lecture before I got here today. Powerful lecture. You named some names. I didn't get through the whole thing, regrettably, but you talked about Diddy, and you kind of talked about the hidden hand behind Diddy, Clive Davis. Could you kind of you said and you also mentioned, I think, like low hanging fruit. Could you kind of get into that and break that down for our audience?
Yeah. So I would start like this. I was asked when the whole Diddy thing broke, when he was first arrested. I was speaking somewhere and somebody asked me, well, what do you think about Diddy situation? And before I can answer, the brother who asked me listed all of the evils and crimes that Diddy allegedly did. And what I said to the brother then, and I say it now, I don't know what Diddy is guilty of, if anything. I don't know. I guess some of that may or may not come out. But I said, but I will see you a Diddy and I'll raise you a Clive Davis. Clive Davis, we know well. We know Arista Records and its relationship with this criminal network that is affiliated both with the mafia and the U.S. intelligence apparatus. We know Clive Davis's relationship with Lawrence Tish and the Tish family, who are part of the mega group. The mega group is this very important cabal of Jewish billionaires who got together in 1991-92 with the aim of investing their money and their resources to advance Jewish causes. They would regularly meet. In one of those meetings, they had hip hop on the agenda. The central figure of the mega group is Edgar Bronfman Sr. The Bronfmans are the new Rothschilds. You want to talk about the Illuminati? Well, in 2025, if you talk about the Illuminati and talk about the Rothschilds, that's anachronistic. That's passe. The Rothschilds have been replaced by the Bronfmans. And the way of the Illuminati, it used to be financing wars, but the way of the Illuminati, the new Illuminati, is financing artists and social influencers. So Clive Davis is connected, is affiliated with the mega group through his relationship with Lawrence Tish and the mega group, the Bronfman family, through its tentacles, its octopus tentacles, has controlled hip hop for decades, has shaped hip hop for decades. So yes, Diddy is low hanging fruit. Russell Simmons is low hanging fruit. Hove is low hanging fruit. It's the people behind the curtain, the people who paid for the distribution of their catalogs. The last point I'll make, so both Bad Boy and Death Row, we know, were Trojan horses. through which so-called gangster rap was injected into the culture, fetish rap, or as the appeals, my brothers appeals say, or porn rap was injected into the culture, as Arista was behind Bad Boy. So we look at, when we think of Bad Boy, we see the black face of Puffy. No, we should see the white face of Clyde Davis and his affiliates, because Clyde Davis gave $50 million for Bad Boy to become a reality. With Death Row, we see Suge Knight, we might even see Harry-O. But what's really responsible for the success of Death Row in the Death Row catalog is Jimmy Iovine, Doug Morris, David Geffen, and Edgar Brofman Jr. These are the people behind the curtain of Death Row. And so Suge Knight was even low-hanging fruit, as P. Diddy is low-hanging fruit. We have to keep the light on those, the people behind the curtain, now that the curtain has been lifted.
Agreed. And I'm glad you brought him up. What do you think about how Diddy has handled his situation from a defense perspective? When all the allegations came out, he was quiet. I mean, and we've historically have heard, let them say whatever they want, you stay quiet, let your lawyers do the talking, etc. We've seen the opposite with a Jay-Z, where as soon as the allegations came out, I think less than 24 hours, he was on it. He was on the offensive, dismaying the allegations, calling out the lies. And then he got his legal team involved, and they're doing what they do. So what do you think about how Diddy handled his situation in comparison to how Jay-Z handled his situation? Allegations that stemmed further for Diddy and kind of went along the wayside for Jay-Z.
Because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not qualified to weigh in on that. I would imagine that Jay-Z's and Diddy's situations were different. The level and magnitude and number of the charges or allegations were probably substantively different. And so the two legal teams probably had two different legal strategies. I can't say that the Diddy's legal team is employing a wrong or bad legal strategy. I can't say that. I don't know. I don't know the details of what Diddy is looking at versus what Jay-Z is looking at. Of course, Diddy's trial is underway, or at least the beginning process of it, so we will learn more. But no, I'm not qualified to second guess either one of their legal strategies. That's not my place.
Understood.
Right. Now, do you is this a systematic attack against black wealthy men? Because again, it seems like, all these guys are affluent in a way, close to billionaires: Kanye West, Jay-Z, Diddy, Bill Cosby, even R. Kelly. All these guys kind of transcended, whatever era they were in. They're at the top brass of everything: the music, R&B, sports, whatever, entertainment. Is it a systematic attack on them, in your opinion? Is anybody exempt from that?
Well, I think it's a bit deeper than that.
Okay.
I think it's a bit deeper than that.
Okay.
I suspect Diddy may have fallen victim to a situation similar to Harvey Weinstein. What do I mean by that? Hollywood is a company, and Harvey Weinstein was a company man. Harvey Weinstein did something that made him fall out with the company, so he was delivered up.
Right.
We know Harvey Weinstein's associates. We know the clique that he was in. We know that he could have what he is in jail for, his close associates are guilty of that and more. But he was delivered up. He fell out with the company.
Right.
The importance of Whitney Webb's investigative report, one label under blackmail, is how she argues with great sources that as Jeffrey Epstein was only a front man for a network bigger than him that employed him, and this network that has mafia and intelligence connections, this network behind Epstein, they employed Epstein and empowered Epstein to target a particular demographic with their criminal wares. Our black moguls, some of them have been chosen to be front men of the same network, but targeting a different demographic with these criminal wares. This demographic is Black America. So Jeffrey Epstein was delivered up. I suspect that when we see black men of wealth who have been invited to the party. So yeah, we need to watch the party die. The party must die. When we see black men who were invited to that party and then become targeted by these same forces, my assumption is that for some reason, these black wealthy persons are delivered up because they fell out with the company. I do not believe it's their wealth, because their wealth was granted to them. So when our brother Kanye West, right after he announced himself as the wealthiest black man in history, wealthier than Mansa Musa, with his billions, and then with the stroke of a pen, Forbes magazine can drop him from the billionaires list, and so much of his money just evaporate like that. It's because those who make us as wealthy black men have shown their power to break us as wealthy black men. So it's not their wealth that's the problem. It's not their wealth that is the reason they are targeted. It is, I suspect, they have fallen out with the company for whatever reason, and they are being delivered up.
You talked about Kanye. Let's talk about him, because we talked about him numerous times with you on this platform. What he went through with the power structure in the music industry, the power structure in the fashion industry, and how they did him wrong. And we talked about it at length on this platform. And I think we did him a lot of justice in talking how he did. What's your recent thoughts on his recent behavior as of late, and what do you kind of attribute it to? Going off the rants on social media, various interviews and things like that. Do you kind of look at it as, okay, this is 2025 and this is where media is going? Or do you think Kanye is going through something? Do you think, I don't even want to put no words in your mouth. What do you think about what's currently going on with Kanye?
Well, I have no doubt that our brother Kanye is going through a lot. See, you cannot be made, allowed to be, and indeed made the most wealthiest black man say in America, he says in history, regardless, Kanye was made a profoundly wealthy black man. You cannot achieve that without having very sinister forces around you. And all of our black billionaires have sinister forces around them. Remember, I said they were invited to the party. And the party gifts that they were given is the millions and billions. They were given this, allowed this, because they are used for the agenda of the network, those who have granted them these party gifts. But the point is with Kanye, no, there are real demonic forces in these black people's life. Now, Kanye has been speaking on many of these forces and naming them and naming individuals. So he absolutely has been in a pressure cooker for a long time. He and those in his black tax bracket, if you will, those black people who are connected with this power structure, this very demonic power structure, they have realities that neither one of us on this platform have. So I am not quick to judge the way of any of them. We can speak what we know if we happen to know it. But what I see in Kanye, he is hurt. He absolutely is going through much of what we probably couldn't even comprehend. Now, he's also an artist, a celebrity, you know, and celebrity in America, you know, seems to require certain things like sensationalism and doing too much. But I think Kanye, I have no doubt, he's legitimately has been battling very powerful demonic forces. And so we're looking at him. We can judge whether we think he's winning or losing, but really we can't judge. We don't know whether he's winning or losing, but we do know he is and has been engaged in a life and death battle with some very powerful demonic forces.
So how do we I would say as a community combat, you know, the female artists, the male artists right now? It seems like hip hop, through drill music, through what you coin slut rap, is getting worse and worse and worse, to the point it's getting more pornographic. I mean, and they're hearing the criticism, but they still going. They're making another song. They're going. So what can we do at this point? Like, are they going to just continue to attack the youth, attack, you know, the well-being of the society? Like, what do we do, in your opinion?
So to answer the first question, will they continue? They absolutely will continue. We should never think that this problem will be solved when they stop. They will never stop. This problem will only be solved when we stop. So there has to be accountability. As a community, we have to hold our artists accountable. But the problem is ratchet rap, slut rap, like drill rap, so-called gangster rap. These are caricatures that feed white appetites. I think last time I was on the show, I pointed out hip-hop originated as a black culture. But make no mistake about it, hip-hop is almost totally a white thing right now. What I mean, it's a white thing. The audience is 70% white. The consumers, the people that buy the records, is 70% white. The labels that distribute it to their audience are white. The label heads who determine the script of hip hop are white. These are whites catering to whites, and the blacks are just, we are just the commodity. Now, we are a specifically designed commodity. We are designed to appeal to the taste of the consumer. The white consumer has an appetite for particular blacks, for particular blackness. White people, white America has always had an appetite for particular iterations of blackness. The black thug, the black killer, the bully coon, the pantsy, the feminized black man, or the threatening black man, threatening to his own, and the black Jezebel, the black harlot. These are the three types of blackness that the white appetite enjoys. So the white label heads that green light the script of all hip hop, mainstream hip hop, commercial hip hop, successful hip hop, the white label heads ensure that the artists fit into one of these three categories of blackness that the white consumer enjoys. The bully coon, the nigga killing nigga, or the pantsy, the feminized black man, and the black Jezebel, the black harlot. So that's all we see in hip hop. All right, one of these three. That's the blackness that is represented to the world. So the solution, they will never stop that. This goes all the way back to Jim Crow days, Reconstruction. They will not stop producing what pleases the appetite of the primary consumer, white people. It is us as artists and as a community who have to stop placing ourselves in those categories. And we do it because we have one singular objective, the bag. We want to be rich. We want to be famous. So they can hand us a script and say, rap this, be like this. And Ice Cube Detail, who has been he's an insider, a long-time insider, and at this point, a whistleblower in terms of the mechanics of the industry. And he detailed how label heads write scripts for the art of the artist. Of course, the label head doesn't write the script, write the lyrics, but the label head will get the writer for an artist and tell that writer to write a particular lyrical script and make this artist rap that song. And it's content that advances the agenda of the label head. And so, but we have to take communal accountability, because we culturally, we put the seal of approval on it. Culturally, we put the seal of approval on the caricature of blackness that white folks create for white folks, for their appetites. But we put the seal of approval on it. So the problem is ours. The responsibility is ours. Not just our black artists who are guilty of seeing nothing beyond the bag that they want, but the problem and the responsibility is ours communally, because we green lighted. We say, yeah, that's the ish. We buy it. And the problem is the difference between a white consumer and a black consumer. A young white consumer listening to drill rap, that's voyeurism for them. They don't try to be that. That's not, they don't emulate that. That's entertainment for them. It's like going to a zoo. It's seeing all this wildness, but they going right back home to their safe luxury. But the young black listener thinks that's a reality to emulate. So that plays out in our communities. It don't play out in the white suburbs where most of the consumption takes place. But it plays out in our community because we emulate that. White folks just are entertained by it.
Right. So how do go on.
I want to give a 2-part question. So sorry about that. First, I want to get your opinion on Sexy Red and her lip gloss line, and then 2, it was a document that came out. Not sure if it's real that inferred that she was a CIA operative since 2018. It hasn't been confirmed that it's real, but if you can you comment on those 2 things?
I can. I can. I don't know that document. I will look it up. I now in terms of her line, I will only comment on the character of Sexy Red. The character of Glorilla. The character of Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know these sisters individually, but I know Sexy Red is a character like Scarface. He said explicitly, with the introduction of horror rap, that Ghetto Boys 2.0 innovated. They didn't innovate it, but the whites in Jay Prince's ears launched horror rap, and with all this slasher raping of black women, killing, having sex with a black woman's corpse. And Brad Jordan said, no, the stuff that Scarface rap about, that ain't real. He said Scarface is just a character. All of this we rapping about, it's a character. Y'all don't follow that. I'm Brad Jordan. That ain't real. So the character of Sexy Red, the character of Megan Thee Stallion, the character of Cardi B. So this ratchet hip hop. Craig Kallman, who inherited, in many ways, Clyde Davis's role in or at Arista. Craig Kallman, one of the proteges of Lyor Cohen. So in that network, Craig Kallman bragged about Cardi B being the social cultural success that they intended. They crafted, like he brags about being like a wizard in a laboratory, crafting his artists, and Cardi B was a social success. Glorilla, this ratchet rap, this is a black Jezebel. This ratchet hip hop is these characters and caricatures are designed by the people who are feeding the appetites of the consumer. So when I look at and hear Sexy Red, I remember what Leo Cohen said when he tried to introduce BWP, I believe it was, bitches with problems.
Mm.
His black female rap group, which was his answer to Two Live Crew.
Wow.
And Leo Cohen's bitches with problems, who were real raunchy in their rap. This is long before Little Kim, long before Meg Thee Stallion, long before Sexy Red. When Leo Cohen, and again, Leo Cohen's protege, Craig Cowman, is responsible for Cardi B, and we can name those behind Sexy Red and Megan Thee Stallion. They are products of this network. So Leo Cohen said when he introduced bitches with problems and beating back the criticism that came from the community because Queen Latifah was hot then. And Queen Latifah was presenting a dignified representation of black womanhood, queendom. Leo Cohen said, nah, there's more bitches in the city than queens.
Mm.
There's more bitches with problems. That bitches with problems is more representative of black women in the city than queens are. So from there, from bitches with problems to Sexy Red, the people behind the curtain are the same. The intent is the same. All of these are characters.
Powerful.
Absolutely. So when you were how do we get out of this fishbowl? Because you see, it seems like you alluded to, we are the appetite of some white consumers, but we seem like we hold all the power. We can control the narrative, but for some reason, chasing the bag, like you were kind of connecting the dots, seems to still be in our way. So how do we get out of the fishbowl? Because money is important out here. Let's not let's not fool ourselves. We needed to live and we needed to move around, but it doesn't solve problems. You know what I mean? It doesn't cure happiness. So how do we get out of this fishbowl as a culture?
It's about priorities. At the end of the day, it's about priorities. Money absolutely is important, and we all deserve the best life. We black people are the direct descendants of God himself. God created everything, and we, his descendants, deserve everything. We are his heirs in a sense. So we got rights to all of this. We certainly have the right to strive for it, but the issue becomes priorities. And so while we all want and need money, you got to ask yourself, what dotted line are you willing to sign to get it? Does everybody have a number? Can you be bought? Or do you have self-worth and integrity? Is money more valuable than your dignity and self-worth? The problem is too many of us value money more than we value self-worth. Too many of us put a higher premium on money and material gain than on integrity, character, and self-respect. And whenever material acquisition is more important than self-worth, integrity, and dignity, whenever that's the case, you can always be bought and made to be in the service and therefore a slave of somebody else. So, and I'll close on this. The network that Whitney Webb is exposing and we've exposed in our book, the network she documents selects an artist and they will make that artist a celebrity. They will put everything in place to ensure that their chosen artists are made celebrities, made rich, after they have compromised this celebrity. Now, this chosen celebrity, once compromised with drugs and gay sex, these compromised artists are made celebrities. They're made wealthy. So you got the bag. You came into this, your only ambition was the bag. You got the bag. You wealthy. You got Negro power. You can lord over black people, but you are lorded over by someone else. And we are seeing our black lords now being treated as court jesters.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, you will want to ask, well, was it worth it? You signed the dotted line. You signed, you exchanged your soul with this contract. Was it worth it? We see the end of where this does end. So the problem is our priorities. And the solution has to start with our priorities.
Absolutely. I know you're a very busy man. I got one last question for you. I'll let you get out of here. We promised you to 45. Went a little over.
Appreciate you.
How do you feel? Yeah, definitely appreciate you. Vlad TV, his response to Minister Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan, excuse me. Did you see that?
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, atonement is very important for us in the Nation of Islam. We celebrate every year a day of atonement, and we have, as part of our culture, 8 steps of atonement, an acknowledgement and taking accountability, responsibility, apologizing for a wrong done is among those 8 steps of atonement. So we value that. DJ Vlad's apology was right to do if it was sincere, and I don't have necessarily have any reason to doubt it based on what I saw. I don't know. I don't know what is in his heart. He was wrong and he apologized. That's a step in the process of atonement that we value in the Nation of Islam. To what end? We just have to see where it goes tomorrow. You know, people, when it comes to Farrakhan, when it comes to the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, people are day by day, minute by minute, because it's hot. That's a hot name. It's a hot. Farrakhan is a hot person to be affiliated with, to be the beneficiary of, and all black people are beneficiaries of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. The enemy has made him so radioactive. So people who love him today, well, I've learned, don't get too excited because tomorrow may come.
Mm.
And they code switch so easily and so emphatically. I've seen it 1,000 times. So I don't go over the top with applauding anything like that. I don't go over the top in condemning, because tomorrow can always come if Allah grants any of us a tomorrow. But for what it is, DJ Vlad owed the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan an apology. He apologized. I don't have anything else to say.
Absolutely.
On to the next one.
Indeed. We definitely appreciate you. Student Minister, Dr.
Yes,
Wesley
yes, definitely.
Muhammad on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We definitely appreciate you as always.
I
Can't wait to get
appreciate
you
you
back on.
guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Let the people know where they can find you. And yeah, we appreciate your time.
All right. You can find me at www.wesleymuhammad.com. You can find me you can get my books at drwesley.info, INFO. I'm on social media as Wesley Muhammad and Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Sounds good. Once again, man, always appreciate the wealth of knowledge and hope to see you back soon. Much continued success.
Whenever you call.
Much
all
love
right.
to you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you
all right.
guys.
Peace. All right,
sir.
Bye-bye.